My friends, I'd like to thank all of you who, over the last 30 years, have bought my books, maybe one of the most famous ninja authors of all times. It's only in the last couple of years that I've actually come to realize how widely read and how well known I am all over the whole world. I started writing these books back in 1978 when I was working at a dojo, and we needed a little training manual. We put the first one together, and it did so well and so well received by everybody that they suggested maybe we should try to sell them. So we put an ad, a classified ad in a magazine, and we sold a few. And that was encouraging enough that we decided to submit the book to various publishers. Eventually we signed with one in Colorado and began to write a series of books on ninjutsu in 1980. 1993, when I was in Australia, I had a fellow come up to me and ask me how I liked the new ninja training manual that had just come out. And I told him I hadn't seen it yet, so he offered to show me a copy. And it turned out to be one of my early books, Book of the Ninja, with a new cover on it and a new title. So when I got back to the States, I called the publisher and I asked him about this book and asked him if I could get a couple of copies for my collection, because I figured this was one of my books. I was put on to a literary agent in New York who told me that that book and several others of mine were his and no longer belonged to me, and I was not entitled to any money from those books. In 1995, I broke from that particular publisher, and at that time they sent me a letter that said all the rights to all of my books reverted to me. And by that time I was already dealing with another publisher in New York and a couple of books with them. I began to notice that on the royalty reports from them that I was not listed as the author, that somebody else was. And when I called them and asked them about this, they told me, well, that was an accounting device to make sure that the money went to the right person. And I complained that the money was not going to the right person because it was not going to me. In 1999, that particular company went bankrupt. Now, in the contracts that I had with them, there was a clause where all copyrights would revert to me, just as they did from the original publisher. But I received a letter from their attorney that told me that that clause was unenforceable, and that as a result I was being sold as one of the assets of this particular publisher to another publishing group who would continue to take care of my books. So for the last 10 years, I've tried to work with this new publisher. I've offered them new titles. I've offered to revise some of the old titles. And recently, when I was inducted into the Hall of Fame, there was a certain amount of interest in my books again. And this particular publisher decided to re-release my original Secrets of the Ninja book. I suggested to him that there were several errors in the original book that hadn't been corrected, and I'd like to change those. And there was also some new material that I would like to add. And they said that would cost too much, and they didn't want to do that. But instead they were going to put a new cover on it, and they were going to put it back out on the market for me. The new cover has a fellow with a sword stepping out of a cloud of smoke, not wearing the proper masks. It looks like this. This is supposedly an original reprint of the original Secrets of the Ninja from the original publisher. That particular book went out of print in 1999, but it was still being sold on the internet and in various bookstores until last week, retail over the counter. This new book is a cheap knockoff edition. It's being used to promote the books of a character named Ha Ha Lung. Now, a lot of people think that Ha Ha Lung is one of my pen names, but it's not. Ha Ha Lung is what they call a house name. It's the name of a person who works for the publisher, who writes a series of books according to a certain formula. This particular individual has made a great deal of money over the years in using knockoff books of my original Ninja Mind Control. On his webpage, he openly admits that he is such an author and has several other pen names and several other types of books that he writes, including frontiersman books. So this person is not a martial artist and knows nothing about ninjutsu, and yet he's made a fortune by copying off of my books. And now they're using this book to promote his books. Even if 1 million copies of this were sold, I would not get a single nickel. In 1995, when I broke with the first publisher, that voided any contracts that I had with them. In 1999, when the second publisher went belly up, that voided any contracts with them. I have no contracts whatsoever with the third publisher. Therefore, as the owner and copyright holder of all of these books on ninjutsu and all of the variations and editions of these various books on ninjutsu, I hereby declare that Dojo Press is the only authorized distributor of these books. Anyone else, any wholesaler, any vendor, any retailer, anyone who has these in a warehouse, anybody who has a collection of them, will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law for copyright infringement. There are only 3 people that are authorized to sell anything with my name on it. DojoPress.com, Budo Concept in Munich, Germany, Martial Arts Supply, MartialArtsSupermarket.com. Those are the only 3 people that are authorized to sell any of my books. The Dojo Press edition of The Secrets of the Ninja has 50 more pages than the original book. It has 80 more pictures than the original book. From now on, all of this material is forbidden. In Japanese, that is called kinjite, forbidden things. And only I will decide who gets this material from now on. I used to give this book away for free on my website so that the publishers couldn't profit from it. As soon as I took it down, they rushed to come up with this scam to take advantage of me some more. That is not going to happen. I ask everyone to protest the sale of this book and any of my books that they find anywhere on this planet, online, in bookstores, in flea markets, any place. No one is authorized to sell my books but me. And anybody who does will be prosecuted. Now, I have been privileged to have learned a great deal by studying ninjutsu. And I have been honored to share this knowledge with you. And I will not have it stolen and put to evil purposes by people who are corrupt and crooked. I appreciate your consideration. I appreciate all your help and time below these many years. Trust me, big things are coming. We're all going to be part of it.